Well, I'm glad you're here watching my video on YouTube. The fact is, I don't know how long this will be up, since YouTube has decided to start censoring me and pulling down my videos. But don't worry, you can watch this video on rumble.com/RandPaul, where I post all of my content. Love to see you over at rumble.com.
Senator Paul joins me now. Senator, good to have you back on the story. Good to have you with us today. That was an interesting exchange. Basically, he said, well, you know, if they're on good behavior, we will give the Taliban $10 billion of U.S. taxpayer money if they check all the boxes.
Well, and here's my response to him. If they stole $80 billion worth of military equipment, maybe we should deduct that from the $10 billion we're going to give him. Then they still owe us $70 billion. No, I mean, the insult, not only to all the people who fought in Afghanistan, but particularly the last 13 that died for their country over there, to immediately send these people money. The Taliban have historically stolen aid money. So they said, oh, we're giving the money to charities. Well, who ends up stealing it at the point of a gun? The Taliban, who we gave 350,000 automatic weapons. So no, I think it's a big mistake, and it's insult to our soldiers to immediately start dumping money into Afghanistan again.
Yeah, you also asked about, you know, why didn't we destroy this equipment on the ground? You talked about the drone attack and the story that is surfacing now about whether or not that was an aid worker who was killed in that drone attack or a terrorist, and that was also a very interesting exchange. But you said, why can't we, you know, if we can do that, why can't we blow up equipment on the ground? What did you think of the answer?
I wasn't too impressed, and here's the thing. The Biden administration was very, very forthcoming saying that they killed a terrorist. They were really proud of. We got an ISIS-K high operative, somebody high up in the organization. They told us this. Now, if you ask them, was it an aid worker or an ISIS operative, they say it's classified. So apparently it wasn't classified when they were bragging that they got a terrorist, but now they're not sure. But it sounds to me like he really isn't sure, and it's going to have to be investigated. But this is also what happened during the Obama administration. We droned hundreds of people, but if you kill 10 civilians for every one you drone, are you better off or worse off? And this is a question we really have to have. I would have, rather than go after somebody that turned out to be the wrong person, I would have bombed the crap out of Bagram Air Force Base. I wouldn't have left anything standable or usable once the Taliban took it. You might have given them 3 minutes notice that there's incoming, but we should have destroyed every plane, every helicopter, every Humvee on the way out. And we also should have never exited the base until we were ready to be the last plane out. The last plane out should have been from Bagram Air Force Base. There's a possibility those 13 soldiers wouldn't have died had they been guarding the perimeter of a well-guarded Air Force base.
I mean, I can't imagine what that's like for their families to hear that, and it's a point that has been brought up a lot in terms of Bagram. And you make an interesting comment here about what we should have done to the airbase itself, because now it looks like we've just given the infrastructure of an entire airbase to China.
Even if you accept that the Biden administration was surprised by how fast the Taliban took over, even if you accept that, we have the wherewithal to kill anybody by a drone, but we also have the military wherewithal to have destroyed Bagram on the way out. So I see no reason why we shouldn't have destroyed it on the way out. They could say, look, we were surprised, but once we were surprised and they took over the base, we should have said, you got 20 minutes to vacate the base because you've got incoming missiles. And that would have been a way to leave with strength. Instead, we leave with our tail between our legs, with the sadness of the soldiers who died and the utter incompetence of the Biden administration. I don't think this is going to be forgotten. I think this is going to go down in history of one of the worst military mistakes in our history.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions on accountability, which were also raised today in terms of Bagram, in terms of the equipment, in terms of not having a larger perimeter around that air base. And nobody so far has said, you know, I resign, I made a bad choice, or the intelligence wasn't good enough. And those agencies need to be held accountable for not understanding what was going to happen on the ground. So a lot of good questions raised today. Senator, thank you very much. Good to have you with us today.